Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth. Plus, you heard of this game? Okay, it's been a while since we made that joke. I remember nothing about this one. This one is an incredibly slow shot, is that correct? This one is every technology item. It's the easiest item of all, or easiest run of all time. Easy. Can't remember. Pretty easy. Not easy. I think we've made it through. I mean, we haven't gotten 11 yet, but apart from that, we've made it through, like, the more difficult challenges, at least on our first pass here. We got Emperor and the Magician. How does it's in the cards work? We get 3 pretty great shop items, and we only go to the mom floor. This is one of those ones, you know, I think if you make this in 2014, like they did, you go, ooh, what an interesting challenge. In 2018, you go, what? Stop treating me like I'm a child. Give me some actual difficulty here. I don't understand. What, you think I need your help for easy mode? I don't think so, man. Speaking of easy mode, you guys been playing that Mega Man 11? Probably not, right? That sounds overly dismissive. The reason I say probably not is because it came out yesterday, and also it's $40. It's expensive for a game that's a retro-inspired, you know, action platformer. But I gotta tell you, as part of the Video Game Elite and a receiver of a review copy, that game hits all the right places. I almost played it a little last night in my leisure time. The only reason I didn't is because I was like, maybe I'd like to record some more, or even stream some more. Could be a fun time had by all. Dude, I gotta tell you, there's a temptation here to take Guppy's head as a result of the fact that it's probably better, but it seems like it's kind of not in the spirit of the run, so we'll just hope we become Guppy instead. Although I was pretty bad, why not, at Mega Man 11, and indeed only defeated 2 Robot Masters over the course of my 90 minutes, or actually like 2 hours or so that I played. Not really a good ratio. I'm a big Mega Man fan. Mega Man, I mean, 2, 3, 4 especially. Mega Man 1 is pretty good, albeit hard enough for the most part to be kind of like, you know, you could tell there was arcade-inspired design back then. Ironically, you know, Guppy's head led to us getting hit there. Just goes to show you, can't always get what you want. But I gotta admit, I love Mega Man 9 and 10 as well, even though I only beat them maybe... I probably beat Mega Man 9 2 or 3 times, but I only beat Mega Man 10 once. I gotta tell you, I was turned off by the art style of Mega Man 11. I do think the price point is very high, but simultaneously, I'm like, dude, that's a good game. I've gotten over the art style now, come to realize that the game has a very authentic, classic Mega Man level design to it, and I can definitely see myself finishing that entire game. It is a lot of fun. Anyway, that's my video game recommendation for the week of October 3rd to October 10th, 2018. If you haven't checked out Mega Man 11, consider it. Oh, you're just gonna keep playing the games as a service that you already play? PUBG, League of Legends, Dota, Ring of Elysium, Fortnite, etc., etc.? Well, me too, buddy. I finally... That might have sounded like it was like I was trying to be derisive. It's not the case. I've been saying it for years. We said it on Roundtable all the time. And I'm not trying to say that I was, well, there goes our deal with the devil chance like 1,000%, but I'm not trying to say I'm some kind of prophet here. I was just looking at the signs. But, you know, over the past few years, and been these postmortems for really, really good games, mostly indie games, usually. And they'd be like, hey, my game got great reviews from Destructoid, but it only sold 8,000 copies. Why? And I'm like, dude, I'll tell you why. It has very little to do with the fact that your game is $15, in my opinion, and much more to do with the fact that everybody on Earth has a games as a service that they play. And look, I'll level with you. It goes for me too, you know? Nobody wants to feel like, oh, this new game's good, but it would be like a chore to play it. I'd rather just play, you know, I'd rather get slightly better at League. I'd rather get slightly better at Dota. I'd rather play 4 hours of PUBG and, you know, maybe unlock that Shroud crate or something like that. I'd rather play a hut. I don't think it's a sad state of affairs of the industry. You know, I think it's like, basically, it's like games evolving into this like sort of television medium, where you're like, oh well, The Good Place premiered on NBC, and you're like, well, I can't watch that. It's on the same time slot as NCIS. I've been watching NCIS for 25 years. It would be too painful to stop now. Anyway, but I read an article that was like, it was a post-mortem of a game, and it was like, hey, maybe there's not enough space for everybody's game anymore because, you know, a lot of people are putting 15 hours a week into the same game for years and years instead of the way they might feel compelled. You know, even 10 years ago, it was like, WoW, and that's it. Well, WoW and EverQuest and... Well, dude, I gotta remember, 10 years ago was only 2008. It's not like it was 1999, but... Hard for me to remember that from time to time. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with my own opinion there. I don't know why I would stars card here, but let's just enjoy ourselves, right? Definitely, like, even... Ooh, when I was a teenager, so we're talking like 2000... Let's say 2004, 2003, 2004, 2005. You know, the way that I bounced from game to game, or like divided my game time, is like... Once Xbox Live came out, it like revolutionized my consumption. I barely ever purchased single-player games after that point, and I was like, what's going to be the next multiplayer online hotness? You gotta cut me some slack here, and maybe this is one of the reasons that sometimes, I mean, I like single-player games, and I spend a lot of time, you know, alone talking to myself. I mean, for work as well, but also because, no, let's not make a joke stigmatizing mental illness necessarily. But anyway, point is, I got no problem being alone, but when, like, online broadband gaming became a thing, that was where I, like, dove in. So we're like, oh, me and my friends, we would always, collude. We'd be like, what game are we gonna get next? Oh, let's get, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six 3. Great game. Let's get Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas. Great game. Let's get Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas 2. Great game. So we played a lot of these Tom Clancy games, but we did not play Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, because that game requires more patience. Until they made it like a weird Call of Duty Black Ops sort of knockoff. But anyway, I digress. But still, once every 2 or 3 months, you know, we were diving into something new. Now, I mean... I'm not being negative, and I'll explain it in no uncertain terms. Is great for consumers. I know a lot of consumers, they don't like the games as a service model. And you're entitled to not like it. When people don't like the software as a service model, I understand a great deal. If you're not familiar with that, basically, you know, 5 or 6 years ago even, you would buy Photoshop. It was really expensive. You would pay, I don't know, like $400 for Photoshop. Hold on here, give me chariots. But then you would own it, and if you never wanted to upgrade to the brand newest version because you only used, you know, a couple of the features that were in it, I'm basically describing my exact user story right now. Then you wouldn't have to ever buy it ever again as long as it continued to work on your operating system. Now, if you want Photoshop, you have to get it as part of Adobe Creative Cloud. And it's a subscription-based model where it costs you like $12 a month. Now, $12 a month is a lot cheaper than $400 until it isn't, and then it never gets back to that value again for the rest of your time using the software. So I can definitely understand in the short term, like, you know, software as a service is nice, but, you know, it seems like, forgive the use of a very heavy-handed term to describe the purchase of luxury software, but it's kind of like a poverty trap, right? It's like, oh, you don't have $400 to give me right now, not that you even have a choice anymore. Okay, well, don't give me $400, just give me $15 a month until you die. And then by the end of it, it's like one of those rent-to-own places. Like, you had a TV, it could have cost you, you know, $500 to buy it new, but instead you paid him $7 a week for 100 years. Anyway, I digress. So I can see why people hate that, but dude, the games as a service model, for the most part, I think you're kind of sitting pretty, right? Like, as much as people are mad at PUBG for the fact that there is no acceptable reason why that game should be as broken as it is, you know, a year and a half after it has come out. It's been out of early access for a year at this point. You can't fix all of your problems with money, and I can't even imagine, like, the technical debt that they have if I'm gonna, you know, make myself seem like I know more about that side of the industry than I actually do. No, that's alright. I don't think I'll be taking that because I don't want to die, but simultaneously, I guess I do want to become Guppy, so sure, let's do it. Plus, I'm not a coward. That's a very important thing to remember. In real life, I'm a coward. In Isaac, I'll do anything, for the most part. But, like, who is out there is like, I paid $30 for PUBG in November of 2017, and, you know, that was approximately, 14 cents an hour for playtime, and I'm mad. It might not be worth your time. I ask myself that on a regular basis, but, you know, it was definitely worth your money if you want to look at it for a dollar per hour ratio, which is highly flawed, obviously, but in a situation like this, I think sort of makes a lot of sense. Deal with the devil guppy. Deal with the devil guppy. Oh, halfway there. Still, I will take dark matter, of course. I can't believe this one only goes to mom. This seems like a full run. You know, like you paid. I get that they sell microtransactions later. They do have to pay staff to keep the game updated. But you can also continue to play the game for the cost of the original purchase price. Like, Siege is another example. I think that the microtransaction system in that game is pretty bad. And it was, I mean, like PUBG, it wasn't originally free, but, you know, we're kind of in this awkward period where games kind of, they don't know, like, you might see it as companies double dipping, you know, like, we're gonna make our game cost money at launch, and it's gonna be a games as a service sort of thing. But there's no subscription fee. And I kind of see it like, you know, it's more companies hedging their bets. Like, they don't know, maybe their game won't take off, and then they're like, well, thank God we didn't release it free to play so we could recoup literally zero investment. DAE, just make your game good, forehead, etc., etc. Okay, you get the idea. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just saying. I support the games as a service model when it's done ethically. PUBG makes me mad, but they still handled it decently, I think. It makes me mad because all their microtransactions are like, red shirt! You could get a motorcycle helmet that is gray! Dude, I understand you don't want to, like, give me things that are too flashy, turn it into H1Z1 where, you know, people are, you know, wearing freaking unicorn masks and doing backflips in the middle of an open field, but come on. Give me a little bit more than that. Alright, you teleported me to exactly the same room. Anyway. I was happy. It feels vindicating, I guess, to have somebody actually echo, somebody that's in the industry. And I wish I could remember the article, the author, the publication it was made in, etc., etc. It would lend a lot of credence to what I'm suggesting right now. Otherwise, it just seems like I made it up to make myself seem like some kind of prophet, which, as you know, I'm very interested in self-glorification and being seen as a serious part of the video gaming industry. So I can see why you would think that. Ooh. Hierophant? No, the world. I mean, we'll use it next floor. We are low on HP, but we have 9 lives, so very limited concerns here. You know, maybe, you know, your indie game didn't perform poorly because it's $20 and it should have been $15. Maybe it performed poorly because it was an 8 out of 10, which is great, by the way. But people are just not that interested, by and large, in checking out, like, every new game to be part of the zeitgeist like they used to be. Instead, they're like, oh, yeah, I heard that game is pretty good. Maybe I'll pick it up in a sale, but in all likelihood, you know, I'll just go back to playing Hearthstone or something like that. I got $500 invested in it. You know, I can't go back now. And yet, by the way, if you disagree with me, of course, it's fine. Disagreeing is the spirit of something. Anyway, the point is, I didn't really think it was more of like a motivational poster or something like that. Let me put it this way. I'm not going to roundhouse kick you in the stomach and pretend that I was trying to kick your phone just because I disagree with you. However, I think, you know, if you ever hear people talking on, like, Twitch about video games, you'll get a little bit of a... you might start to agree with me a little bit more. Because, you know, people will be like, oh, why did a game... Let's take, like, Full Metal Furies, for example, the newer game from the company that made Rogue Legacy. And you'd be like, oh, that's a really common example in 2018 that people cite of, like, a game that was good, but didn't perform well. And people are like, oh, why didn't it perform well? Some people are like, well, you can't blame the industry. Look at something like Hollow Knight that did amazingly. Oh, it was a champion, yeah. Well, Hollow Knight is actually, as much as I make fun of the fact that, you know, I think, for me, I'm not making fun of Hollow Knight. I'm poking fun at the community surrounding Hollow Knight that treats it as an edified sort of, you know, a work of art, which is fair, but, you know, like, that is above reproach and criticism in all respects. Anyway, I still like Hollow Knight. I think it's like an 8 out of 10. And the fact that people will take it as an insult as an 8 out of 10 is the reason I poke fun at it in the first place. But, you know, Hollow Knight is like a once a year, or even like a once every few years sort of game if you're into Metroidvanias. Same, you know, people will be like, well, what about Spelunky? Spelunky, for many people, is like one of the best design games of all time. Like, the design is so elegant. It was so elegant, people were sort of mad that they made a second one, or they're making a second one. Now, everybody's gonna play it, and, you know, I played it at PAX, and it seems awesome, and I trust the developers, you know, with my life, more or less. But simultaneously, people were like, you already made a... Ooh, Spirit Dog. You already made a perfect game. You don't need to make another one. So for those games that existed, like the mid-range, that are still very good, but, you know, just not out-and-out masterpieces. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Anyway, I don't know where we're going with this one. I think I've said my piece on it. So should you buy Mega Man 11 at 40 bucks? I mean, this is one of... It takes a lot for me to be... at the point where I'm like, you know, that's too expensive for time invested, but, you know, you gotta do your own value judgment at that point. If it was 15 bucks, I would tell you in a heartbeat. Yeah, absolutely, pick it up. Oh, I got a sneeze coming. For 40 bucks, you could buy a couple of packs in NHL Ultimate Team, so I don't know. How much is it worth to you? Ooh. There we go. No, I'm not playing as much Ultimate Team anymore these days. I was never in danger of buying packs. I don't know. I get offended sometimes because I think people are like, you're gonna break down and buy packs one day. You're like, nah, I'm not that kind of guy. You know, I've already been through the magic thing. I know how to stop myself. I mean, I quit Dota 2 cold turkey. It's probably not like quitting, you know, like heroin or crystal meth or something like that, but... You know, my brain was like, oh, come on, you can just play a little bit of it, and it won't be that bad. And it might be right, but quitting cold turkey was a great way to ensure that, you know, I have enough time to see my family and get my work done. So, actually, I, like, evaluated for myself. I was like, do I even enjoy myself when I'm playing Hut? And last night I had a little bit of free time, and my brain said, nah, you know? Wouldn't you be better off doing something else? So I started a Pluralsight course on Android Studio and went, why is Android Studio so freaking slow? And dude, I am performing so badly here. Let's visit every other room. We got a little bit of time here. I mean, there's very, very little chance of us dying or losing all of our lives, to be more specific. Android Studio runs an Android emulator when you're testing your projects. The Android emulator says, just so you know, you're running a deprecated version of the Android emulator and it's very slow. Please update to the newest version to change this. And then I go to Stack Overflow, Google the exact error, and they're like, oh, make sure you update. And then the top post is like, I'm updated. The next post is like, oh, right, my bad, it's a known issue. Okay, cool. Cool. Anyway. DAE. Please go back to talking about PUBG. What do we got? Range worm. I know that's not what it's called, but it's like what it is. Excuse me. I don't know, dude. This is a good run for getting the rust off. Mostly because I feel like I've been playing real bad. Whoa! 2 luck upgrades in as quick succession as you could ever muster. A goat head, a little too late to actually matter, but... What is this? Not a room that annoys me too much to begin with. Just trying to stack up some useful advantages that we can take ourselves into that mom fight. It's gonna be the rare, easy challenge, 1 per video. Usually you stack up 2 of them, but... Okay, right, that's not how that works. I was like, we'll get a bomb and then... we can get the golden chest. No, we'll turn the golden chest into a bomb. I don't know, man. It's hard to sell an indie game in 2018. Well, it's hard to sell an indie game and, you know, make, like, you know, Super Meat Boy money. There's a lot of really, really great games that come out on a daily basis, but I don't know, the more time that I spend in the industry, and, you know, I'm kind of flattering myself by suggesting that's what I do, but the more I think, like, it's not really that there's too many good games out there, it's just that people are already full, you know, people's entertainment budget. Occasionally you'll get somebody, or like, you know, 1 in every, I don't know, maybe 50 people is like Nick. And Nick's, this is not an insult to him at all, but what he wants to do is be part of the conversation to some extent. He wants to check out like tons of new indie stuff. He really values that variety. And as a result, you know, whenever there's like a game that, like, okay, this is going to come across as a little insulting, but I don't mean it like that. But, you know, it's a Metroidvania or a platformer that looks like it came out on the NES that probably 9 out of 10 people would look at and be like, ah, it's not my scene. He's like, oh, I got to at least try it to see what's up with that. I feel like he's like a... I don't want to say a dying breed, but he's like not well represented within the actual consumer base of people who are like, ah, I'd love to... Like, if you're watching this, be honest. Are you the kind of person that purchases, like, you know, an indie game a month? Which I think would put you at the high end of consumers to some extent? Or are you the kind of person that's like, I love watching a variety of content, but I don't actually purchase that much for myself? And I'm not being judgmental whatsoever there. Like, just because I do a Let's Look At or a Northernlion Tries or whatever of a game, and I'm like, oh, it's good. If you're interested, you should pick it up. If you don't pick it up, I'm not, like, mad at you. You know, you're not really... Or that the developers are not really who pays my bills for me. As crass as it is to say, I want you to be happy. My allegiances lie with you. But I think most people, and it's my hunch, I could be wrong, but I think most people exist in that area where they're like, I love seeing a variety of games, but I don't necessarily purchase that many. Yo, this is a huge upgrade for us. Moreover, like, I don't know, I hear it because sometimes there'll be these threads on the Northernlion subreddits, and they'll be like, what games has NL made you buy? And usually there's like 4 answers. Isaac, FTL, Slay the Spire, and like Spelunky or something like that, or, you know, Darkest Dungeon, or whatever. And I'm like, dude, 4 games is not many. So if that's the average, I understand indie developers feeling the crunch. It's also very flattering because they did not need me to sell those 4 games. Those are like, you know, 4 of the best indie games that have ever been released, and I don't think I'm being controversial. Yes, even Slay the Spire. Let me take it a step further. Especially Slay the Spire. Now, if you could just... Thank you. For all the time I have in Isaac, I can't diagnose why this run feels kind of bad. I think it's rate of fire. I think it's like 8 rate of fire when you get to this point of the game. You better be doing at least like double-digit damage. I understand we're not far off. The run doesn't feel like poison, it just feels like slower than it should be. Alright, we made it. We'll take whatever, and it's... I was just gonna say no Krampus, please, but sure. We will try not to die against Krampus. If we get close, we will use our Emperor card and fly away. Pelicans. But I'll give you the 23 minutes you expect here. I'll dance for you. And in return, you keep allowing me to pay my bills. Hey, superfan. What? Did you have to do this in order to Oh, it's SMB Superfan. I don't know why I thought that it was 4th level Meat Boy and Bandage Girl. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. It was a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Also, follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Northernlion. Be notified when I go live in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. See ya!